California Governor Gavin Newsom is now calling his city's homeless encampments unacceptable, which is odd since he's the guy who, made them acceptable, turning sidewalks into red carpet events for drug addicts, thieves, and unemployed CNN anchors. On Monday, he urged cities to ban the camps from sidewalks, parks, and other public areas. So after years of denying the problem, he's now pretending to fix it, which is like putting on a condom as you're leaving a whorehouse.
You're not going to believe what just went down. Greg Gutfeld didn't just disagree with Gavin Newsom, he folded him like a lawn chair at a family barbecue. I'm talking verbal fireworks, political dodgeball, and one governor left wondering what planet he woke up on. If you think you've seen Gutfeld go off before, think again. This wasn't a debate. It was a demolition. And we've got every hilarious second of it. Strap in.
Los Angeles, a place where your yard is someone else's campground. 911 calls are answered slower than airline customer service, and the governor looks like a diehard villain. Somebody here on this table called this first, that to get any action done, you may have to get the politician to feel the pain of their own policies intimately, and he got it right in the gut. Because I predicted In-N-Out was going to be the catalyst because it's his family's favorite restaurant. And when In-N-Out closed, that was a direct shot at him because you could BS the public, but you can't BS your kids who are now wishing he had gotten recalled because they could have.
Greg Gutfeld didn't stroll into the moment. He marched in like someone who smelled political weakness from a mile away and decided tonight was the night to barbecue it. Gavin Newsom, polished hair shimmering like it was rehearsed, stood there ready to deliver another Hollywood-style California redemption monologue.
He's pretending that he's like this scrappy underdog, but he really is an elite overdog that hasn't done anything of any difference or value for California, so he has to pick fights. I mean, think about the response to the Palisades fire. Like, nothing has happened. That's on his watch. There's the exodus of people leaving California. There are the taxes, like you say. There's the corruption. And I think he's trying to say, look, I can have fun and spar with podcasters, so you might think things are fine, that there aren't any of these problems.
If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. But Greg came to do what Greg does, and Gavin didn't look ready for the demolition that followed. It wasn't a political disagreement. It was the comedic equivalent of handing a chainsaw to the funniest guy in the room and telling him the furniture is flammable. The second Greg opened his mouth, Newsom's confidence started leaking like a defective luxury mattress.
But as always, when a far-left Dem runs for national office, he acts like a Republican. This is where the left is really pro-trans. Suddenly, they grow balls. So Newsom is fed up with tent cities, the crime, the urban decay? No, he's not mad about that stuff. He's mad you noticed. It's like a criminal telling a jury he's sorry he robbed 25 banks when he's just sorry he got caught on the 26th.
Gavin tried flashing that trademark grin that usually buys him applause and celebrity retweets. Greg didn't care. The grin hit Greg like a slow pitch, and he swung with absolute joy. He treated Newsom's charm like it was a clearance rack accessory from a politician's Halloween costume. The crowd hadn't finished inhaling before Greg started chopping down Newsom's favorite talking points one by one, with precision and mockery brewed in the same pot.
Then there's Gavin, who says he'll consider a White House run.
I'm looking forward to who presents themselves in 2028 and who meets that moment. And that's the question for the American people.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
I'd be lying, and I can't do that. Well, since you can't lie, what tequila were you nursing while the Pacific Palisades burned? And what was it like banging your campaign manager's wife?
Greg Gutfeld treated him instead like a washed-up improv act who wandered onto the wrong stage. Gavin arrived prepared to advertise California like it's a sun-kissed utopia where everything works, everything's thriving, and everyone is living their best Malibu dream. Greg replied by tearing the California tourism brochure to confetti and tossing it back across the room like, fantastic brochure, but where's the proof the place actually works?
Because this isn't some spontaneous crisis. It's a man-made disaster like Chernobyl or Fox and Friends. And
they like the show, okay?
And the man who made it acts like he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's pure government grift, shoving you down a flight of stairs and then making you pay for the handrail. We've been lied to for years that homelessness is all about affordable housing. Fentanyl isn't the problem. It's that loan officer at the bank.
Every time Gavin reached for a grand statement, Greg was already there with a punchline. It was like Newsom kept handing him ammunition, and Greg kept loading it into a humor-powered cannon. Gavin reached for smooth rhetoric, Greg snatched it and spun it into a comedic highlight reel. Gavin tried to flex policy muscle, Greg turned it into a comedy sketch about imaginary results and budget fairy tales. Every attempt at gravitas landed in Greg's lap like a blooper reel. Greg didn't roast Gavin, he slow-cooked him. Gutfeld knows how to humiliate without raising the volume. Newsom has perfected the presidential audition facial expression, the one meant to say, "I'm already America's leader in spirit." Greg slapped that facial expression off the pedestal with sarcasm so clean it could be packaged and sold as industrial disinfectant.
The intensity of pain that a public endures is based on the time that it takes the Democrats to start acting like Republicans. And so the goal for us is to speed that up, get the party of ruin to come to their senses, because the Democratic Party, for some reason lately, is addicted to chaos. And we have to keep doing these interventions, right? And like an addict, the left has to hit rock bottom.
Theatrics are Gavin Newsom's favorite survival tool. He gestures, he poses, he channels confidence with dramatic flair. Greg Gutfeld treated the performance like a parody in front of the live crowd. He didn't need props. He didn't need volume. He just dissected Gavin's style, mannerisms, and overly moisturized optimism, turning each into a comedic crime scene. Newsom walked in ready to inspire. He walked out looking like a motivational speaker whose PowerPoint refused to load. Greg didn't just mock Newsom, he collapsed the entire fantasy world Gavin builds around himself. According to Newsom, everything is stunning. Greg Gutfeld shut him down without even letting him finish building momentum. Every polished point became a comedic trampoline for Greg to bounce off. Newsom bragged about progress. Greg turned it into a comedy sketch about progress existing only in Gavin's imagination. Newsom bragged about leadership. Greg described leadership like Gavin defines it: long speeches, impressive hair, and outcomes delivered exclusively in Fantasyland.
But common sense says that you put these people in treatment and then return the streets of San Fran to the folks who made them famous, cross-dressing hookers. It's like the wildfires. Gavin blames climate change when it was his corrupt bureaucracy. Since the Palisades fire, which destroyed 6,000 buildings, only 4 permits have been issued for rebuilding. Did climate change cause that? Hell no. So like the fires, Newsom let homelessness run wild. He allowed tens of billions of dollars to be swallowed up by a maze of consultants, nonprofits, and bureaucrats who created poop mats.
What made the moment historic wasn't that Greg challenged Newsom. Lots of people challenged Newsom. What made it legendary was how nonsensically easy Greg made it look. He roasted Newsom while sipping humor like champagne. He clowned the governor with the casual confidence of someone folding laundry. It was asymmetrical warfare. Not with policy papers, but with comedy so nuclear that UCLA scientists could file paperwork on it. Gavin Newsom didn't look defeated. He looked exposed. Not physically, but theatrically. Greg ripped away the political movie trailer and forced everyone to see the full film behind it. Suddenly, Gavin wasn't the heroic leader of the golden future. He was the guy whose big plans all came with sequels delayed indefinitely. The facade cracked. The Polish lost power. Greg refused to allow it. Gavin kept trying to center himself as the protagonist. Greg kept reminding everyone he was more like the overly dramatic supporting character in a show nobody asked to renew.
For us to forget that his state looks like an overturned porta potty. But with fake crime statistics and fake boobs, why not have a fake governor? In an interview last week, Newsom painted himself as a latchkey kid struggling to make ends meet.
It was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
It's like the White Stack 5 story.
And the best part? Greg didn't insult Gavin for existing. He insulted him for pretending his leadership exists in a world where results don't matter. Gavin sells dreams. Greg sells receipts. And Greg unloaded those receipts with enough sarcasm to power a stand-up tour. Newsom kept performing. Greg kept reminding the audience that good performance means nothing without actual achievement behind it. Theatrical energy? Greg shredded it. Presidential aura? Greg vacuum sealed it and tossed it off the balcony. Hair model confidence? Greg turned it into a meme before anyone finished blinking. The demolition was artistic. Gavin built a tower of self-praise. Greg kicked one support beam and watched the whole ego structure collapse in high-definition slow motion. Newsom's California savior persona evaporated. Gone. Greg reduced it to costume jewelry of politics, shiny from far away, useless up close. Gavin kept trying to regain swagger. He treated Newsom's confidence like a balloon begging for a pin. He treated Newsom's big ideas like props from a theater storage closet, dramatic, decorative, and non-functional. By the time Greg finished roasting, Newsom's legacy, image, and aura were melted into steam.
I don't know how they're going to convince anybody after taking $1 trillion from taxpayers, money that could have gone to starving people, build housing, Jesse's hair, you name it. Instead, it went down this giant thing, and it went to people you don't even know, activists, lobbying groups, people who do own yachts, because that's where the money went. It didn't go to save the earth. It went to save somebody's mansion.
There was no revival arc, no comeback scene, no redemption monologue. Newsom's posture deflated, his trademark expressions lost power, and the carefully constructed illusion of permanent applause dissolved like sugar thrown in fire. Greg didn't need fireworks. He used comedy as a wrecking ball. When the moment finally reached its end, Greg Gutfeld walked away exactly as he arrived, completely unfazed and deeply amused. Gavin Newsom looked like a man who walked in wearing armor made of magazine covers and walked out wondering whether armor is supposed to dissolve on contact. Greg didn't win by arguing. He won by making sure Gavin could no longer pretend. Roasts come and go, political clashes come and go, but few moments reach this level, where a politician polished for national stardom gets ripped apart by someone who understands the power of humor better than he understands the power of rhetoric. In that moment, Greg Gutfeld didn't just destroy Gavin Newsom. He shattered the illusion Gavin spent years constructing, and the aftermath wasn't silent. It had the kind of stillness that appears only after an avalanche. Greg Gutfeld didn't just leave Gavin Newsom in trouble, he left him in reflection mode, the kind of reflection where a man stares into a mirror not to admire his hair, but to reconsider every career choice that led to the moment he got verbally flattened on camera.
Macaroni and cheese.
Bro. He watched one episode of Good Times. It's a nice story, except that it's about as flimsy as the drawstring on J.B. Pritzker's moo-moo. Because while Gavin was hustling, he was featured in a Children of the Rich article detailing his ties to billionaire oil man Gordon Getty. His dad worked for the Gettys, and the same Getty fortune bankrolled Gav's first business venture, a winery.
The image of Newsom polishing his confidence like a trophy now looked like a blooper clip because Greg turned that trophy into confetti and sprinkled it across the political floor. The beauty of Greg's style is that he never tries to punch down. He punches straight through. He didn't attack Newsom's personality. He attacked Newsom's habit of mistaking image for impact. Every comeback Gavin attempted was built on the assumption that charisma always wins. Greg showed that charisma without substance collapses faster than a cardboard stage under theater lighting. Gavin had posture, presentation, and cadence. Greg had awareness, and awareness is lethal in comedy. After the roast, Newsom attempted to recover with that familiar high-gloss optimism, but the confidence no longer had weight. The hair, the grin, the cinematic cadence, once his superpowers, became the props of his downfall. Greg walked away with the easy swagger of someone who didn't just win the moment, but permanently rewired the audience's perception. That's the real destruction. Not the jokes, not the shots, the shift.
No, it's true. It's true. Full stop is basically telling people I have no examples to back up what I'm saying. And when I say full stop, you're supposed to just let me go, which makes him really full stop an idiot. I am curious, though, about how do you do a climate conference now when the climate agenda has been fully discredited? And it's discredited by a number of things. One of them is we have an incredibly more educated, skeptical public, especially since COVID. People read stuff now. They don't.
After Greg was done, Newsom didn't look presidential, revolutionary, or futuristic. He looked like someone auditioning for relevance. Greg didn't just tear down an argument. He tore down the illusion that the argument was ever strong. There's a special kind of defeat that only comedy can deliver, the kind where the target technically survives but never quite recovers their former shine. That's what happened here. Newsom walked in radiating inevitability. He walked out radiating uncertainty. Greg didn't change the polls. He changed the narrative. And narratives are where political legacies live or die. Even the most polished figure can be undone when someone points out the difference between applause and achievement. By the time the moment was over, the verdict was engraved in the collective mind. Greg Gutfeld didn't simply destroy Gavin Newsom. He exposed the gap between who Gavin thinks he is and what reality insists he still hasn't earned. And once that gap is visible, no speech, no photo op, no dramatic pose can close it again.